Oh, testing, testing. I was saying. Okay, so finally we are into the final part, part 4 of our chapter 23 video, in which this time we are going to look at some advanced questions. Okay, now by advanced, it's actually not that difficult, as you will see very soon. It's just a little bit more tricky, requires 1 or 2 steps more. Okay, so let's get right into it and make this video as short as possible. Okay, now here the first type of advanced level, so to speak, would be that. Now, remember last time we say most of the question didn't involve transaction cost, right? Now, but this time, what happens when there is a transaction cost? 好啦，有成本嘅時候係點啊？ So, example of transaction costs would be, let's say, transportation, 係咪？運費咯。So let's see how we do it. Now here you see I have already written down the solution. The solution is to make the terms of trade range narrow it. 一定令佢收窄咗㗎，好嘛？ So let's see how we do it. Here, okay? Now it shows the amount of toys and cars can produce with the same amount of resources. Okay? 嗱呢個啦 type 1 啊 our type 1 questions. Okay? So because of let's make it short. Because we have already calculated now in our grey box. 原來你之前灰色嘅格仔就係呢條啦。OK， 我只不過 cut 咗後面啫。All right. Now because of time limitation, let's make it short. Here, 1t equals to 1.6 car, or 1 car equals to 0.2. This one, no, sorry, toy. Or for country B, 1 toy equals to 3C, or 1C equals to 0.33 toy, something like that. Okay, 好嘛，望望啦。Now the transportation cost. Okay, the transportation cost for 1 unit of toy is 0.4 car unit of car. OK， 嗱，佢而家嚟講啦。1t 對幾多嘛？我哋寫翻個 range 出嚟先。The range should be 1.6c, 1.6c to 1t to 3c， 應該要佢中間先得啦，係咪啊？ Now it says there is a transportation cost and it's borne by the importing country. Okay. Now remember, which one is the importing country? Remember, the one with a higher cost will import. 貴嗰個人先會 import 人哋嘅嘢啊嘛，因為自己做好貴啊。Therefore, we need to do something with this 3. Remember, I say narrowing the possible terms of trade range. Okay? 好嘛？ So, the easiest way to do it, 點樣收窄佢啊？3減咯 ，minus 0.4 unit of car. That will make the answer 1.6 to 2.6 within. Okay? 好啦，咁即係邊個係答案啊？ Only B would be our answer because it lies between 1.6 to 2.6. Okay, so this is the easy way to do it. Now let's do some explanation here. 我哋做少少 explanation 啦，好嗎？ Now think about it. Now we look at here. Okay, remember, right? The gain from import of import 啲咩啊？ It will import a toy. Okay, now we are talking about country B. Country B's gain from import of toy. 記唔記得原先點計啊？ Remember, the original local cost is 3C, right? But now I only need to pay, let's say, terms of trade, whatever terms of trade. Let's say 2 here. Okay, let's say 2 here. Okay, let's say that the terms of trade is 2. So originally they should gain 1 car in this case, right? Now, but remember, they need to also pay the cost. So additionally, you need to minus 0.4C. And that will make them gain 0.6 car. OK, 好唔好啊？嗱，所以啦，記住收窄個 terms of trade 好容易嘅啫。Now let's do it again. Let's do it again. in 2017 this question. 我哋做多次啦。Now, give you some man hour. Now, again, because this one, we have already done it. So, because of time limitation, I just make it short. It would be 1t equals to 0.5 watch, or 1 watch equals to 2t. For country B, 1t equals to 0.25 watch, and 1 watch would be 4t. Something like that. Okay? Now, so you see, actually, here, suppose the transportation cost 1t equals to 0.1 watch, right? Now, 既然佢答案係 1t 對幾多啦 so we just look at 1t to something. The original range, it should be here. Right? 應該係咁㗎嘛個 range. Okay? We look at the opportunity cost and we know the range should be within 0.25 and 0.5. Now it says we have 1 unit of toy. The cost would be 0.1 watt, and it's borne by the exporting country. Remember, the one with lower opportunity cost would export. Now we need to narrow the terms of trade. 係咪？其實佢賺少咗啊，會令佢 OK. So how do we narrow it? We add 0.1. 收窄佢嘛，所以細個 number 要加大，大嗰個 number 要減細。Okay, so this is the way we do it. The range would be 0.35 to 0.5 watch, and only one answer lies within, and that will be answer B. 好嘛，就係 B 喺呢個 range 裏面啫。好嘛 ？Okay, so 嗱，其實唔係多好多嘢咋。So you see, right? With transportation costs, actually, you only need to do one more step in your final answer. 係嘛 ？Before you get the final answer, it's not that advanced. 係咪？已經比較 advanced 㗎啦。And you look at the percentage, right? In fact, for this chapter, 之前嗰幾條 video 冇講啦，係嘛？唔記得咗添。So you see, right? For this chapter, basically, the percentage are very high. We are talking about 65%, meaning even band 2 尾嘅學校都識做啊。Okay, so your goal for this chapter, you need to score full mark for this chapter. Okay, 好啦，嗱睇多條19年啦。Okay, even in 2019, it's still 64%. Okay, now it shows the amount of goods that can be produced with 1 unit of resources. So easy, right? One, and that will be resources. Yes. Now, so the opportunity cost of country A, 1x equals to 1.5y, or 1y equals to, it would be 0.67x, right? Now, for country B, it will be 1x equals to 2y, or 1y equals to 0.5x, right? 好啦，嗱，答案係咩㗎？係 1x 對幾多嘛？ So, let's make the range 1.5y to 2y. Now, suppose the transportation cost is 0.2 unit of good y, and it's, sorry, not borne, but borne by the exporting country. Okay, exporting country. Now remember, export. Which one is export? The cheaper one is export. So plus 0.2. And only one of the answer would lie between 1.7 and 2. That would be here, answer C. Okay, so this is the way we do such kind of question. Okay, 我哋咁做嘅啫。This is the way we do such kind of question. Okay, 好嘛？ So you see, the figure doesn't lie. This is still easy. This is still easy, even for the whole of Hong Kong. 好嘛？ So this is the first part we want to talk about. Now for the second type of more advanced question. Sometimes, remember, in previous questions, the resources are splitted quite evenly, right? Sometimes the resources would not be splitted evenly. 咁都幾 advanced 啊？係啊 relatively speaking, is more advanced. How do we tackle that? You only need to, you just do nothing but but stick to our resources table approach, and it automatically will be cleared. 好嘛，睇住啦喎。嗱 before trade, the actual output with all the resources evenly allocated between X and Y. So what does that mean? It means that the resources they use will be all divided by 2. All divided by 2 can either make 100 or 250. Okay? 好嘛 Yes, really, just like that. 你話咁有咩分別啊 No, there is no difference because when I designed the table for you, I've already taken into account of this type of question. 個 table 係咁用，點解咁設計有用㗎 Okay, so immediately, just stick with this approach. Nothing happens. Really, nothing happens. So let's see. It goes like this. For country A, 1x equals to 2.5y, or 1y equals to, that would be 0.4, I think, right? 0.4x. Now for B, it will be 1x equals to 0.5y, or 1y equals to 2x. So we immediately see for country A and country B, we would know immediately their respective comparative advantage, right? So let's see which one is correct. Country B has comparative advantage in making Y wrong. 係咪？唔啱喎，係 X 先啱喎。嗱 country A can produce the same amount of good Y with fewer resources, right? 好啦，嗱個問題又係啦 ，with fewer resources, if you still remember some videos ago, I mentioned if the wording is all, then this is immediately a big question mark. Okay, immediately will be a big question mark. Okay, 好唔好啊 Now, what about C and D? Okay, 好啦，望啦 ，trade 望到 D 先，好嘛 ？Country A will have a larger gain than country B from each unit of good X traded. Okay, now the thing is, it says country A gain more than country B. Do you know? No, you do not know because we are not aware of the terms of trade. 我哋唔知個 TOT 幾多啊 Okay, we do not know anything about the terms of trade. Okay, therefore we cannot conclude which of them would gain more. 唔得啊，得唔得？So answer would be C. Let's look at C. Trade between the two countries would not be mutually beneficial if the transportation cost of 1x would be 2y. So let's look at here. Now the possible terms of trade would be 0.5 to 2.5. Do you see? The total gain would just be 2y when they engage in trade. So you can only gain 2y maximum. Now, if the transportation cost is 2y, then you see you will have no gain at all. 我淨係賺2個 unit， 但係我要俾翻2個 unit 嘅錢。So you see, there would be no gain. Therefore, it would not be mutually beneficial. In fact, I'm quite sure no one will even gain anything at all. 唔止唔 mutually beneficial 啊 ，it would be bad for both sides. OK， 兩邊都賺唔到啊，好唔好啊 ？OK， so this is the way we do it. OK, so now what about next one? Now suppose each country has to pay a transportation cost of 0.5 for one 佢既然問啦 1y 俾幾多？嗱 this time let's put the range with a 1y to something, right? Here, 1y will be 0.4x to 1y to 2x, right? Now, let's look at the question. Each country has to pay a transportation cost of 0.5 記住啊 each country 係每邊都要俾啊 of 0.5. Now, therefore, how do we narrow it? 既然每邊都要俾，咁每邊都做手腳咯。 0.5. Here, minus, yes, minus 0.5. So the range would become 0.9 to 1.5, which only one of them would fall into that range. That would be answer B. Answer B would be within 0.9 to 1.5. Okay, 好唔好啊? So this is how we do it. 咁就叫 advanced 啊? Yes, this is already the so-called advanced level. 好唔好啊? 好啦, now next question, a little bit more tricky. But if you follow our approach, it shouldn't be any problem for you. Now it says, country A and country B produce wine and rice. 哇，好難讀啊，係咪啊? Now country A has 1 unit of resource and country B has 2 unit. 嗱，今次係咪有啲麻煩啦? Each country allocates half of their resources in the production of each product. 即係咩意思啊? Now, let's transform it into a table that we know, right? So this is the situation when they allocated half and half. So let's see what happens. Now, how do we translate this? The way we translate this would be this. Remember, country A has 1 unit, but they evenly distribute between rice and wine, meaning it will be 0.5, 0.5. With 0.5, they get 6 and 9. Now, country B has 2 units and evenly distribute, meaning 1 and 1. 10, 8. Now the question asks, with 1 unit of resource, how much country A and country B can make? 容易啦，跟返 table 咯。Times 2, that becomes 1. Times 2, that becomes 1. 好啦，乘到2啊，呢秒乘2咯。Okay? So the answer, 12, 18, 10, 8. It would be 2 and 4. So that's why you follow the table. 你跟返個 table 做就得㗎啦，得唔得? All right, now, what about next question? Now, which of the following statement is correct? 好啦，我哋都要計返啲 cost 出嚟先，好嘛? Now, for country A, it will be 1 R equals to 1.5 wine, or 1 wine equals to 0.67 rice. For country B, it will be 1 rice equals to 8除10 0.8, or 1 wine equals to 10除8. It will be 1.25, I think, right? 1.25, something like that. 好啦，我哋吸落去下面咧。Now, no. Here. Now, which of the following statement is correct? Now we know country A has a comparative advantage in making wine. While country B has comparative advantage in making rice. Therefore, country A should export wine and country B should export rice. Both A and B are not correct. Okay? Now, what about absolute advantage? 望下啦，你望返呢個 table 咪知咯。Now, all of them are 1, 1, 1, 1. 而家全部1啊嘛，睇下邊個大啲咯。12 versus 10. So, country A has absolute advantage in rice. And country A, 18 versus 8, also has absolute advantage in making wine. 兩個都係 country A 啦。Therefore, answer would be C here. Okay? C 先啱啦。好嘛? So you see, in face of this kind of question, you just need to follow our table approach, and that should be completely fine for all of us. Okay? 好嘛? So this is the way we do it. Now, let's do 2 more, and no, actually 3 more, and then we will move on to the final type of question. Now here, 又嚟咯噃 distribute with all their resources evenly. 嗱，咁啊自己醒水啦，好唔好啊? All divided by 2. All divided by 2. 好嘛? So, the tie would be 1 rice equals to 0.33 computer, or one computer equals to 3 rice, and Japan would be here. 1 rice equals to 0.5 computer, or 1 computer equals to 2 rice. 好嘛？原來係咁樣啫。So you see, the comparative advantages would go like this. So let's see. Japan has a comparative advantage in making computer. Yes, that is correct. Number 1 is correct. Now, what about number 2? Absolute advantage. 一定之錯 because you know it is all. 係咪我講咗好多次啦？ When it is all, meaning you do not know how much it is. So you cannot determine the productivity. So, what is all? We do not know. Number 2 is wrong. 唔使睇啦，答案得一隻。Now, but the funny thing is here, 3. With complete specialization in the 2 countries, the total output of both rice and computer will increase. Now, this looks like 呢個似唔似我哋個principle of comparative advantage 啊？ Yes, but remember, when I talk about that principle, I told you specialization may not be complete specialization. 唔一定 complete specialization 嘅嚇。Okay, so let's do the maths here. Now let's say before they do trade, what happens? Thailand would make 15 rice plus 5 computer. Japan would make 24 rice plus 12 computer. 係咪啊？原先係咁噶嘛。Now therefore the total would be here 應該幾多啊？39 plus 17C. Okay. Now, what about after specialization? Now remember, it's a complete specialization. Now therefore, Thai will focus on making rice. It would be 30 rice because now they use another half resources, not make computer, but make rice, right? So it becomes 30 rice, 0 computer. And Japan will make 0 rice plus 24 computer. What happens to the total? You see, 30 rice plus 24 computer. Yes, computer, you see, it has increased. What about rice? No, it hasn't. Rice, it has not increased. Not yet. Okay? 好唔好啊？ Therefore, actually, number 3 is wrong. 嗱，你見當年係多啲人錯㗎。When it comes to calculation, 64%. But when it comes to theory, actually, students cannot do it. 得唔得？ Okay, so answer only 1. Only answer 1 is correct. Okay, 好唔好啊？ So, this is the way we do it. Now, what about next question? 好啦，我哋將呢個拉返落嚟啊，方便我哋睇啊。Actually, let's go to the next page. Now here, suppose the terms of trade becomes this one. 1C equals to 2.4 rice. 好嘛？ Now, and the computer exporting country has to pay a transportation cost of 0.1 rice for each export. So, let's see the net gain of the computer exporting country. Now, first of all, which one is export? Be it Thai or Japan. Remember, Japan is the exporting country. So, the per unit gain of export of computer, it would be, first of all, terms of trade, 2.4, right? Minus the opportunity cost, 2 rice. 好啦，大家記住喎 you also need to pay transportation cost. Therefore, minus another 0.1 rice. And that would give us 0.3 rice per unit. So, what would be the total gain? 0.3 rice. Since you are exporting 5 units of computer. 好啦，每個賺0.3，咁總共幾多啊 ？Times 5，and that would be 1.5 rice. Okay, 1.5 units of rice. That would be A. 好嘛？嗱，你見啲計數啲人就識計啦，係咪啊？ When it comes to calculation, it's 64%. But when it comes to theory, 50%. And later on, very soon in our video, you see 30-something%. 好誇張嘅，好嘛？好啦，嗱，2020，好啦，你點解冇 percentage 嘅 ？If I have percentage, now you can call police and arrest me。咁應該試題洩漏啦，係咪啊？未有考評報告㗎。Okay, remember the EAA report is out in November. Now it's only September. Okay， 咁你可以拉我啦，如果有嘅話。嗱，唔好講廢話啦。好 ，here assume they use 1 unit of resources on producing X and 1 unit on Y。好啦，咁即係咩意思啊？又係咯 ，resources。This would be 1. This would be 1。好嘛？咁啫嘛。So how do we do it? The cost would be 1x equals to 0.25y or 1y equals to 4x. 1x equals to 0.5y or 1y equals to 2x. So we know country A has a comparative advantage in making X and country B has a comparative advantage in making Y. 好嘛？好啦，但係佢想講咩啊？ Now suppose they completely special， 唔係喎，呢條我哋睇過啦喎，原來係啦，黐線啦。Now they completely specialize. Actually, this one we have looked at it before. Okay, so I think you should refer to our first video when I talk about the principle of comparative advantage. Okay. 好嘛，嗱自己睇翻啦，唔嘥時間啦。I remember the answer should be B or C， 唔記得 B 定 C 啦，自己睇翻，好冇 B 定 C 啦。I think it should be yes. The answer should be C. C. 好啦。So finally, we are into the very exciting area in which we look at the final type of advanced question. I call it the ultimate mutation. And you see, what's the solution? No solution. You need to use your brain. 嗱，真係㗎，只可以用腦㗎啦。OK， 好啦，嗱望一望先。Now, one example will be here, 2001, question 43 and 44. Look at this table. It looks nothing like the ones we used to do. 咁先難啊嘛。You see what they have given you. They've given you without trade. Then after specialization and the total consumption with international trade. Now, this question is actually very kind. They guide you in answering this question. Okay, now let's look at here first. 2001, 43. After specialization, country A produced some unit less of good X and some unit less of good Y. 原來佢教緊你點做啊？ Now let's call this column 1 and column 2. Okay, now how do we do this? Column 1 and column 2. What conclusion do we have? 原來呢 table 點睇咧？係咁睇嘅。Before trade, 40-60. After specialization, 0, 110. 即係咩意思啊？見唔見啊？ You have 40x less. 你少咗40個 x, but you get 50 more y. 你放棄咗40隻 x, 換50隻 y 翻嚟 ，what does that mean? It means the opportunity cost of country A would be 40x equals to 50y. 原來係咁睇嘅，得唔得？ So it means 1y equals， 因為而家佢 1y 係幾多嘛 ？1y equals to 4 divided by 5x. Okay, 得唔得？ So the answer should be A. The answer should be A here. 好冇？ Now So this is how we do this question. Now, what about the next question? The next question, in trading, country A export something and import something. Therefore, the terms of trade 原來係咁睇嘅。We look at 2 and 3。去睇2同3啊。2 specialization， 佢原先冇 X 嘅 ，but how come later on they have 50 unit of X to consume？ 自己冇整，點解會有50個 X 啊 ？It must means you have imported 50X。咁點解少咗 Y 嘅 ？Because you have exported 30Y。即係咩意思啊？ It means the terms of trade right now should be 50X equals to 30Y。得唔得啊？即係一個 Y 就係幾多啊？ It would be 1Y equals to 5 divided by 3X。好嘛，唔好話 3X。And I think that would be yes, answer D. Answer D here. Okay, so this is how we look at such kind of table. Please, these 2 questions, you need to recite them. 要背咗個做法，點解啊？ Because a long time later, in 2014, the exact same question appeared. Look at the percentage, 39%. So you can guess these 2 questions also around 30-something%. 落埋 report 添㗎 is being reported in the Marcus report. Okay? 點做啊？記唔記得啊？ Again, the way you do it, look at column 1 and column 2. No trade, specialization. What can we see? We will see that there will be 60 petroleum less. But at the same time, we have 120 rubber more, meaning the opportunity cost of country A would be 60P equals to 120R. So it would be 1P equals to 2R or 1R equals to 0.5P. Next step, we need to find terms of trade. How do we find terms of trade? Specialization versus consumption after international trade. How come I will have 90 petroleum even though I did not make any? Because I've imported 90 petroleum. But at the same time, I exported 90 rubber. 因為我少咗90個，係咪啊？ Therefore, we know the terms of trade would be 90P equals to 90R, meaning 1P equals to 2R, 1R, or 1R equals to 1P. OK, 嗱咁就容易好多啦，係咪啊？ Now let's see. Country A has both absolute advantage and comparative advantage in producing rubber. Now we know, since country A exports rubber, we know it must have comparative advantage. 肯定㗎啦。What about absolute advantage? Do you know anything about resources? No. Therefore, for answer A, we do not know. 我哋唔知㗎，我都唔知個 resources 幾多。好嘛？ Now, what about B? The gain from trade is 1 to 1. 唔係喎，個 gain 佢幾多啊？ When they export rubber, right, the terms of trade is 1P. But your country A's opportunity cost is 0.5 for making rubber, right? So 0.5P. Actually, they only gain 0.5P. Okay, so B is also not correct. Now what about C? The opportunity cost 我哋計咗啦，唔係喎，冇見過2 over 3喎，個 terms of trade 都唔啱喎，係嘛 ？Answer would be D. Country A would benefit from trading with country B, whose opportunity cost 1 out to 2p。咁我哋睇下啦。If country B it's 1 out to 2p, then what happens to the range of possible terms of trade？ 我哋睇下啦，係嘛？2p for country A 0.5, it would be 0.5p to 2p。好啦 ，what is the terms of trade? The terms of trade is 1p, which lies between 0.5 to 2， 咪喺正中間咯。So yes, it is true。原來係啱㗎，好唔好啊？ So this answer is correct. Okay, 39%. So please, 2014, next year, 2021, it would be 7 years after this. 嗱，好大機會出㗎嚇。OK， 佢想出難啲，好大機會出㗎。So please make sure you know how to do these 3 questions. Okay. Now, for one final question, and we will call it the complete end for this chapter. 我哋真係去到最後啦，好唔好啊？嗱，睇住咯噃。Here, output of a per unit of resources, which means this will be resources. Sorry, this will be resources. This will be 1, and this will be 1. Okay. 好嘛，咁啊照舊啦，啲照計啦。Country A would be would be 1C to 1R。哇，呢啲最好啊！哇，呢出得好好啊啲題目。And B would be 1C to 0.25R or 1R to 4C。Right， 好嘛？ Now suppose the computer producing country 唔係 county 啊 exports 10 units of computer in exchange for 5 rice， 即係咩意思啊 ？Terms of trade would be 10R to 5 no, sorry 10C to 5R, meaning it will be 1C equals to 0.5R or actually let's do it the other way round， 好嘛？ Let's do it the other way round. Now what would be the total gain from trade for the computer importing country？ 嗱，highlight 翻先，好唔好啊？好啦 ，Who would be importing computer？ 邊個會 import computer 啊？嗱 ，obviously， 喂，做乜事？個 mouse 窒咗添。Obviously, in our case, country A would import computer, right? Because its opportunity cost of making computer is higher. Okay, so how much would they gain? Let's see. 我哋試下啦，好嘛？嗱 ，let's see. It will be 嗱，頭先係10C 等於5R，好嘛？嗱 ，let's make it 10C equals to 10R. So do you see the total gain of import would be 嗱，大家都10C 對到啊嘛，係咪啊？ Would be 10R minus 5R. You actually would gain 5R. So answer would be D. 有冇人見到咩問題啊？ No. The answer is really D. But look at here. We are measuring in terms of rice. Look at the question. It asks for computer. 佢問緊 computer. Okay? 好唔好啊？ Now, the question is, how do we convert rice into computer? 我哋點將佢化翻做 computer 啊？ Remember, we are talking about country A here. 今次你好彩咋個答案，點解係 D 啊？你好彩咋？ In order to convert computer rice back into computer, you need to use country A's opportunity cost ratio to convert it back. Lucky for you, country A is 1C equals to 1R. Therefore, 5R would equals to 5 computer. 5C. 你好彩咋，得唔得啊？ Therefore, that's why, how come this 5R would equate to 5C? Because the opportunity cost of country A happens to be 1:1. 下次可以點做啊？ Next time they want you to die, they do not give you 1:1. Then, good luck. 好嘛？所以唔該你啊，第時 all question, please pay attention to the unit here. Computer, our maps only get us rise, but when they're asking computer, convert rise into computer using the country's own opportunity cost. 用返自己嗰個 opportunity cost 啊，麻煩你。OK， 得唔得啊？ So this is the 嗱呢條係最差㗎。Figure wise, this is the most advanced question. 估唔到嗬，係咪啊？估唔到嗬。Sometimes it happens. Okay, so you see, for the advanced question, the final ultimate mutation actually quite difficult, right? So please make sure, please, all right, make sure you know how to do these 4 questions, all right? And with that said, we officially concluded our chapter 23 video. Remember, chapter 23, a lot of questions fall into the range of 60-something%. So your goal as a top band 1 student, do not miss any mark. Okay, so I will see you again in chapter 25. Bye-bye.